I know there's some of you out there, right? I've witnessed it. I noticed it. I've been coaching people who is going through it. But there's some of you in communities right now where you're somewhat afraid, like truly somewhat afraid to shine because the people around you will talk negatively about you.
To some, boundaries are just placing limits. To me, it's where the limitless things begin.
Hello, hello, hello. And thank you for tuning into the Boundaries and More podcast with Jess Abraham. I'm your host, Jess Abraham, your favorite boundaries coach. And today's episode is brought to you by Joyful Styles. Joyful Styles is a lifestyle brand that provides premium quality apparel that promotes joy and positivity. Joyful Styles believes how we approach a situation matters. And choosing to be joyful makes all the difference. You have the power, and it's time to embrace it. So, get your Joyful Styles apparel at joyfulstyles.com. That's JoyfulStylez.com. Let's go, let's go. Okay. So y'all, for those of you who have not taken the time to take that boundaries quiz, it's 2 minutes or less of your time. Take some time out today to take that boundaries quiz. The link for you is in the show notes. However, you are more than welcome to text me. Text me the word boundaries to 210-801-9153. And I got you. I'll be sure to send it right over to you. Also, for those of you who just want to take that step further and to do something now, really have some practical things right in front of you written out for you. I have the tea, y'all, right? A really, really practical guide. 5 things about boundaries I wish I knew sooner, right? That link for you is in the show notes. However, you can text me as well. Text me the word sooner to 210-801-9153 and I'll get that sent right over to you, y'all. Yo, I'm excited. I'm excited per usual to get into this episode today. I'm just so grateful, just the way that it was given to me and downloaded, and just God is great. I'm so grateful, y'all. So y'all see the title, y'all. Check your environment. Check your environment. For lots of us, our environment are more critical than we think, right? More critical than we would love to give credit to and for. The environment around us is so, so important, right? And it's in the most subtle thing, like, right? If you're really paying attention, and you're really looking at it in a certain way, right? Hearing, seeing through just different eyes and just being open to all the things around you, because we can learn from any and everything and everywhere. But that's why our environment is so important, y'all. So let me tell y'all, there's a few things I've been working on, but I want to start with this, right? So I've been noticing, right? There were some suitcases in our closet, one of our closets here, that's about 90% or so unpacked, right? Suitcases in the closet, 90% or so unpacked. My wife and I, we tend to travel a lot, so we're not as strict before as we were about uh, unpacking as soon as possible and or putting the suitcases even away sometimes, right? We're not as strict as we were because we're like, oh, any minute we don't probably get up and go on some trips. We do spontaneous ones, plans, all these different things. We're a lot more lax when it comes to that, right? So me personally, I'm big on like unpacking and just getting things a certain way. But however, what I noticed is that my suitcases in there are about 90% unpacked, right? Everything that should be taken out or hung back up that I didn't wear and all these different things, there's still some of that was just still sitting in the suitcases, right? So what needed to happen? Well, I say it like this. I'll keep going with this. Like, what I notice is that some of the things that I've been working on lately, it's about 90% unpacked as well. It's spilling over, y'all. I hope y'all see this, the connection. It's spilling over. It's so necessary for us to take care of all these different areas of our lives because they're so connected, intertwined, and all of it matters, y'all. All of it matters. I've been showing up in a way that correlates to multiple different things in my life. And I didn't really notice this until I started checking my environment. I'm like, I feel like this hump that I'm just not getting over, right? Y'all, I have an episode, I followed through, right? I just wasn't following through. I was getting kind of sort of there, close to it. If y'all haven't checked that episode out, by the way, go check that episode out. But I'm getting close to it, almost over the hump, just 90% of the way unpacked and 90% of the way complete and just 90% of the way. I'm like, come on, Jazz. Yeah, 90s in a lot of places it may be an A and people might praise you for this and that or whatever. But that's, to me personally, y'all, that's kind of irrelevant. I'm grateful for the people recognizing certain things that I'm doing and certain work that I'm doing and things of that sort. Because I know for me personally, and I just believe for all of us, we can be our worst critics. And yeah, but I'm not satisfied with the 90%, right? I'm not. But I know a lot of people, again, and this might be the same for you. Some people around you may be praising you for the 90% unpacked. Right. And yes, I want us to celebrate those wins, celebrate us getting to the 90%. But I also want us to follow through so that we're getting to this 100%. It's so important, y'all. So important. Man, okay. Like, I'm not going to stay there too long, but I just want to show y'all how this has been showing up in my life. So I'm telling y'all, check your environment. Check your environment. Yeah, I want to like switch gears just a little bit and kind of relate this in another way that it was given to me and I've seen it showing up, right? Check your environment. So I know someone, right? They're in a relationship with someone who's a bit older than they are. And now before they got in this relationship, they were on a different wave. Like they were all about striving and thriving in life with greater and more fun and just more things like that, right? So, but since they started being in this relationship with this person, that strive for greater and more fun and all the other things has dimmed down quite a bit. Right. So the person that they're with, right, their boo ain't really about that life. They're not trying to do this and that or have this more fun and live a greater life and be extra fulfilled. They're not trying to do that. So now that this person is in this relationship with a person that ain't really about that life, they're taking that on, right? Because that's the environment they're currently in. When they're in an environment with people who was just thriving and doing amazing things and things that they aspire to do, they were on a really great track to all these things, like really accomplishing the things that they're aspired to do. They dipped their toe in the water a little bit, got some experience, got some whatever. And then it kind of just, once this relationship formed, it kind of just dimmed a bit. Now I'm not here to say if it's right or wrong or whatever for this particular person. I'm just talking about what I've noticed, right? Check your environment. Now this person kind of still on the fence because they still want to do some of these things, but it's like in the back of their mind, or they know their boo don't want to necessarily do it. So it's pulling, right, that environment is having a lot more pull and say so in their life. Right? Again, I'm not here to say whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent for this particular person. That's none of my business, right? They're not one of my clients. If there was my clients and there was asking and all these different things, then it'll be a different level. But I'm not here to give them unsolicited advice or any of that stuff. But I'm just saying again, what I've noticed. So y'all check your environment. Like I mentioned before, it's a lot more critical than we like to give credit for. Right? We like to just overlook it like it's not that big of a deal, but it is the big of a deal, right? Y'all, this is why personally I am big on communities and even paying for communities. Most of my communities that are about that thriving life is the ones that I paid for, right? So, and that's from people coming to my community, it's going to be a paid community for them, but it'll still be community where they can thrive, right? So I'm in communities where people truly and genuinely want to see me win. Like, that's what they want. Some of them are raising their hand high to see how can they help and assist, even if I, be a little reserved sometimes with it, because I want to make sure I got things, and I come a certain way with certain things, right? But good, bad, and different. Not necessarily saying that's the way to go, or the way to be, or whatever. I'm just telling y'all what I do about my environments. Okay, so check your environments. So, but I know there's some of you out there, right? I've witnessed it. I noticed it. I've been coaching people who is going through it. But there's some of you in communities right now where you're somewhat afraid, like truly somewhat afraid to shine, because the people around you will talk negatively about you. Think about that, right? I want to say that one more time because I really want you to get this. And I know if this is you, it hit you immediately. But I'm telling you, there's some people, right? Some of you, even listening to this, are in communities where you are afraid to shine because the people around you will talk negatively about you. No, no, no. This is here to, oh my gosh, all these episodes, are here to free you up. That no longer needs to be the case, y'all. But I understand it is very, very true and very, very present, because I see it all the time, right? Coaching people through this stuff. If you are in an environment where you feel like you need to dim your light because other people around you is not receiving it well, then it's time to get in a new environment. It's time for a new community. It's people out here who are rooting for you that you don't even know who's rooting for you, right? You might not even have true one-on-one connection with this person. Like for me, right? I'm rooting for you. Period. I'm rooting for you to be better, do better, because I know that you're capable of it. I know it's hurting you, and even parts of you are feeling like it's dying inside, being in certain communities where you're really not being celebrated for the greatness that you're doing. And that's okay, because you have options. You have options. You can get out of this community, right? Even if, again, I mentioned this in previous episodes, but if you're in an environment, you can't just, it won't necessarily happen like right away. It's not something that you can change today or tomorrow, like living situations or things of that sort. Okay, take the time, but put things in place now, right? And also surround yourself, because you need something with all this negativity that's coming at you and being thrown at you. You need something to combat that. So positive energy, positive community, love, light, right? Because that love and that light gonna outshine that darkness and dimness all the time, every single time. So y'all check your environment. Like, you know if this is for you. You know it's been way too long that you just been sitting there going through the same old stuff, doing the same old thing. It's time for a change. It's time for something different. Time for better that you deserve, right? It's yours, your dreams, your goals, desires, right? You deserve to be in a better community of people who celebrate you and who help you accomplish the things that you would love to accomplish, right? So it's time to do that. Check your environment, right? And we're going to do something about it, right? We're going to check, but we're going to also do something about it, because it won't really matter if we checking is just the beginning. I want to say it like that. Checking is just the start of the things. Right? You notice certain things about you, something different. Like me, if I started feeling like off or something is different, or I feel like I must pivot into something else and all this, I'm checking, I'm taking that inventory and I'm checking my environment, like, what's been going on? How are things now? Like, cause me personally, y'all, and I feel like this is for anyone and everyone really out there that but I just speak for me. Yeah, I'm gonna go back, take that back. I speak for me. I believe like when my space isn't in order, like I told you about the suitcases and things of that sort, and certain things like we have the laundry that we waited days to fold and all these different things, right? When I feel like my space isn't in order, that my thoughts and just the way I'm operate, it just isn't in order as well. Like it's the same. It seems to be the same, right? We can't like it's having clutter isn't isn't beneficial for us, right? It's not beneficial for us. So, for all of us, what we must do, we must remove the clutter, right? Whether that's the things, right? The physical things, me finishing unpacking the suitcases or the suitcase, whatever, right? Unclutter the things and or the people, right? In these environments where things just aren't like you desire for it to be. Isn't it the community isn't helping you grow and thrive, or is not contributing to the direct in the direction that you're already going? Right? These things, these people, we must remove the clutter to see and think clearly so that we truly can thrive in what God has called us to do. Always calling us to do, right? You feeling the pull? I know, man. Like about me, I've been feeling the pull, and it's been some things, y'all. But that's another podcast episode. I'll get into that another time. But it's just like, y'all, it's so important. Again, that I want to hone this in because again, you can see it differently. Y'all might think it's just like about some papers being cluttered, but it's so much more than that. Right? Clutter is clutter. Clutter in your mind, right? Sometimes I have an episode, Be Still, right? Check that episode out if you haven't yet. Sometimes we just need to sit to decompress and get all that stuff out of our mind, get all that stuff out of our environment, get all the stuff out, like just really clear the clutter. Because it'll be the thing that really propels us and take us to the next level. And I know it hasn't failed me yet. Like every time there's something in disarray, maybe in my office or in somewhere else in our home or just in my brain, I take the time to clear that out, right? If I'm feeling a certain way, I take the time to feel how I'm feeling, flush that out, talk about it, whatever I need to do to get that out, right? Things start to be a lot more clear and freeing. When it's something in our home, when I'm folding up the towels that's been sitting there for a couple days, right? I'm just saying. Again, that's another podcast. Why are we like this? Check that episode out from last week. Why are we like this? But y'all, just when I'm clearing that stuff out, and I'm like, oh, this space is clear now. It's not clean towels just sitting here piled up, wrapped in this thing to protect it from whatever. Like it's ridiculous. Okay, that's another story, y'all. But I'm just saying, clear the clutter. Period. Clear the clutter. But before you can clear the clutter, you must check your environment, right? Check your environment. See what's different about you, right? Some of these things may be for the better. Now, I want to, thank you, God. I hear you. Some of these things may be for the better. You may have noticed that some things that you used to do, you no longer do, but it's good for you. Right? So check your environment. See if that environment is working and helping you to really execute and achieve your goals, your dreams, your desires in a previous environment wasn't. You check that, right? So that you're not going back and doing things that wasn't beneficial for you. Right? That's what it comes down to. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So when you check your environment, right? I just want you to do practical tip. Thank you. Practical tip for y'all. Check your environment. And I want you to write out some things in your environment. Like if you like me, you had the towels just sitting in the spot, nicely wrapped up and all the things, but not being folded for days, then tell me if that is right. That is it helping or hurting you right now? Right? Write these things out. If you like me and had the suitcase 90% unpacked and the other one just the 10% just there that can just be put away in less than 10 minutes of your life, right? If you're like me and you write that out, tell me, is this helping you or is it hurting you? Right? And don't underestimate any of these things. Really take whatever it is in your environment right now. Like, man, I see that I started keeping my word to myself. Yep, that's check. Good, helping. That's helping me. Right? So, I started not really being myself. I'm starting to not do the things that I love anymore, the things that I enjoy. Is it helping or hurting you? Right? Write your list and check, like, put it in the box, right? Helping or hurting, helping or hurting. Real simple, real practical thing for you to do today. And you already know what's next. Do something about it, right? We'll do something about it. If you need more on how you can do something about that, you're like, oh, Jazz, I really know I do need to do something about this stuff. I must do something about this stuff. Life can't continue going on down this path because something must be done. Then that's what I want you to do. I want you to take the time out today to apply to work with me, right? The link for you is in the show notes to do that. Right? You can go to jazzabraham.com/apply. Don't forget the /apply. But that link again is for you in the show notes. Click the link in the show notes. Or I made it real simple for you, y'all. We got our phones all the time. Just text me. Text me the word apply to 210-801-9153. I'll get what you need. I'll just send it right over to you. And we can get this thing rolling because I want to make sure for you individually that you get freed up. You don't have to continue feeling like dysregulated. Something that recently came up, but you don't need to be in this state of just not being you or being the full you or the you that you desire to be because of all these other things in your environment. Right? You don't need that. You don't need to be that and do that anymore. It's a better way. I promise you, there is a better way. So, y'all, for those of you, right? Are you checking your environment? Some of the things you're not feeling and all this stuff. You ready to stand up for yourself and feel good about it? Right? Because that's what it's about here. Take the time out to apply. Again, that link for you is in the show notes. Man, but that's what I got for you today, y'all. I think I know that's enough. That's what God put on my heart. I'm gonna put out there and the things that I've been seeing, right, y'all. It's time to make sure we're checking our environments and switching gears when necessary, or checking our environment and making sure that we're doing the things that's beneficial to us all along. So we must do these things. But y'all, that's what I have for you today. I want you to take some time out to follow us on Instagram at Boundaries and More Podcast. Again, that's on Instagram at Boundaries and More Podcast. I am looking forward to seeing lots of you over there. Also, man, I'm telling you, I'm breaking some things out, right? 90% unpacked. 90% unpacked, but at the time of this recording, still working some things out for this community to be built out a certain way. And but yeah, it's just 90% unpacked. We need to get that extra 10%. So that is a community that we all, another way for you all to be in the community. We can interact a lot more with each other, more immediate things I can give you all, and I will give you all that's like happening like right now, like exclusive stuff, really exclusive stuff. And I'll say it that way, beneficial stuff for you, practical things, even more so just again with that interaction, that one-on-one interaction in a community setting, or just can or interacting with other community members, because there's people out here that really ready to see you thrive, right? Like we're cheering for you and you don't even know it. Well, now I'm letting you know. But I'm cheering for you. And the community here, the Boundaries and More community is cheering for you as well. So yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, at the time of this recording, that link is not available, but the time that it is released, it may be. So just check the link in the show notes. So there's other ways for you to get in contact with me. So just use there's link in the show notes to do that. Again, y'all, follow us on Instagram at Boundaries and More Podcast. And that's really what I have for y'all today, because there's some other things that are calling my name right now. So I must get going and doing this thing. But y'all, please be sure to take the time out today. Take the time out today to have an amazingly, amazingly beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your week and be back here next week for more Boundaries and More with Jas Abraham. Talk to y'all then.